Xenix, you going off.
Wagwan Daddy, what you saying? You good, fam? You're good. You see me, I look good. I am blessed by God to look good, so you look good. And I'm glad you're back with me. My Billy Podcast, a podcast focused on beating the hell out of your negative voice. I don't know why my hands keep moving. It brings engagement. That's what I heard. But thank you for listening to a podcast focused on overcoming that negative voice that says, log off this. He don't know what he's doing. I don't know what I'm doing. When I walk out and I go out into the mall, into the store, should I act a shell of myself or should I just be someone they want me to be? No, be yourself. That voice that says, oh, I can't do it. I won't do it. I must not do it. I must not be able to do it. I must not have the traits to do it. That voice that says that, we beat the hell out that voice here on this podcast. And if you like, aggression, beating the hell out of that negative voice that always tries to pull you and dim your light, and you like to shine your light, thank you for tuning in. Let's get into this week's episode before I keep babbling and babbling and babbling, because that's my favorite thing to do. This week's guest, honestly, is someone with such an inspiring story and something that got me so energized, so charged, so motivated listening. I just can't wait to share it, honestly. Mr. Sahil Mittal. Now, this kid is 18, still in high school, and he founded his own sports and media platform, NBA G League Tracker, really showcasing the next wave of NBA talent. Not only that, but he works for the Windy City Bulls as a digital media and PR associate. Now, this kid, this man, started off as a little ball boy for those Windy City Bulls. And when he had that vision in his eyes to be more, to work his passion with the sport, to showcase the stories and the lives that he loves seeing in that little boy's lens to what he's become now, it's so powerful. He's joined this show to pursue the passion he has for speaking and to pursue the passion he has for the game, to showcase not only his story, but to showcase and highlight the stories that he does every single day. I think that literally this is so powerful, seeing a young kid, young man, not even graduate high school, do what he's done. So focused, so driven. He's a winner. He's confident. He's courageous. He has a clear, I said that twice, real clear vision. He has clarity in what he wants to do. And I'm so, honestly, literally no edits in this, because I don't need any, because this is just the life I'm giving to this intro, and I'm giving him this stage right now. I hope you enjoy. Thank you again for being on this pod. Obviously, we started with connection issues. Who cares? That's technology nowadays. But again, I wanted you on this podcast literally because of what you represent, the younger generation, covering the game, and just your passion for not only sports, but life in everything that you do. Like, you see the underlying. It's not just the passion for, this sport, this team, this athletic person. It's like the drive to become something greater. And on this podcast, that's what I showcase, is individuals within the journey of the climb, where they're going, the mindset that one gets every single step of the way. So Mr. Sahil Mittal, welcome to the Mind Bully Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
For real. It's really cool. It's really cool to see kind of you ascend. Like, it's funny because I saw the G League Tracker, the thing that you're founder of the G League Tracker. If anyone lives under a rock and is paying attention to the actual G League, he literally puts out, content on, signings, whether it's just broadcast journalism, digital journalism, on how like the league is expanding and, the different moves around the league. And I think it's so fire. And so many people won't understand how fire that is, because there's underrepresented group like the G League is, athletes that have all the traits, have all the skills to do the thing, the next level, don't really get represented. But somebody takes out of their day, out of their time, unpaid for this, and sees their stories and wants to highlight their stories. I think that's amazing, bro. And I think that you created your own lane in that, and in doing so. I just think, and just thinking about it now, just posing the first question randomly, like I always ramble off my head. It's like, where does that even come from? Because nobody looks at the G League and says, okay, I want to highlight these guys. I want to, focus on these guys and study these guys and broadcast and trying to get stories out of these guys. So where does that story come from an underrepresented group?
Well, for me, it kind of comes from two different areas. I mean, I think I have to start with the love of the G League. So I was in middle school, I think, beginning of middle school when the Bulls got their minor league team, about like 10 or 15 minutes from my house, not even 15 minutes. And so my parents, they saw it online, and I was like, oh, we should, go see that, go see what it's all about. I was looking at the rosters because I've been a big basketball fan forever. So I was looking at the rosters and I saw guys like Will Bynum were there, and a couple other guys who I had like trading cards of, because I collected cards and like autographs like crazy. And so we went to that first game, and we really loved it. I was getting like some autographs by the court, and the team president for Windy City came over, and apparently they didn't have a ball boy for that game. So he was like, "Hey, do you want to be the ball boy?" So he moved my family courtside, and I got to be the ball boy for the game, and it was just a really cool experience. And then we just kept coming back every year. We got season tickets, and I just started following the league a lot more closely. And then, like on the journalism side, I took a class in high school, my freshman year. That was it's our studio TV class. So we do broadcast journalism. We create different news segments, sports highlights, that kind of stuff. And I was kind of lost in the beginning because it was a really unstructured class. It was like, do what you want to do. Like, you can edit, you can film, you can be a on-camera personality. And so I had no clue what to do the first couple of weeks. And I was like, you know what? I have this relationship with Windy City. Maybe they'll let me go to like a media day or interview a player or something like that. Just, a long shot. So I reached out, and that was my first project. We ended up going to Windy City Bulls Media Day my freshman year. I think it was in like November, right before the season started. And that was, I really loved it from there. And then a couple of months later, I started the G League tracker page on Instagram.
Oh, so that makes so much sense. I'm laughing because I literally, before I do these, I always stock your page, stock my guest page, because I want to understand, grasp all the content that I can. And I just saw you, I think it was PJ Dozier, interview him beforehand. Then you interviewed him when he came back to the Iowa Wolves. So like seeing you before, the little kid, like the whimpering voice, even before this, I'm like, all right, I'm in this hotel. Like, I'm kind of anxious for this interview. So I'm like, but then I listened and I watched that again. I'm like, damn, like there's growth. Just seeing you grow is like, okay, chill. Like there's stages of this. I don't know. I think that is so cool. Just having that drive come from an actual passion that you have to then again build on what you want to do and become, who you are now. I would ask, though, reverting back to that kid that goes to that game, who has that passion for the game. Before that, at home, you're the oldest of two younger siblings you have, the oldest of three.
Yeah.
But how is that relationship like in the home when you're the oldest sibling and you come up? I think you're 4 years older than your next sibling.
Yeah.
How does that work when you're the oldest sibling and, you're kind of grinding for not only what you want to do, which you're a tennis player and you're in sports and you're in business, you have that mindset, but the pressure in that. What is your relationship with the negative voice when it's coming in those moments, whether it's, okay, I got to do this for my family, but then I got to do this for my team. But then again, I got to do this for the Windy City Bulls. But then again, I got to do this for the G League tracker, like all at once. What is that like, trying to be that example, but then creating your own path? Walk me through your journey in that.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot of balance, and it's a constant balancing act. It's not, I never have like a set path with what I'm doing. It's one day I may be running to the arena to go do a game for the Bulls right after practice, right after tennis practice. And then my brother comes to the game and I got to take him home. And then my parents are out for the night, so I got to watch my sister. It's just a little bit of everything. Just trying to find that balance it's tough, but it's doable. Especially when I have, siblings and parents who really support what I'm doing, and they really want to help me in whatever way they can. I think back to earlier this year, actually 2 times earlier this year, we were in Nashville doing a college visit, and it it was on like a Saturday, and we had a game for Windy City that night. My visit was in the morning. We were flying back around like 4 o'clock. The game's at 7. And, my parents weren't super thrilled about it, but, they really wanted to help me get to the game. They wanted to help make sure I was there. So, moment we got off the flight, they drove me straight home as fast as they could. We just kind of moved as fast as we could to get me to the game. That's just like a little thing that shows, like, even if, we're coming back from a flight, or if it's tough to do it, they'll still help me do what I want to do and help me get to where I want to go, because they know I'm so passionate about what I do. So having that support system around really, really, really helps.
Having that support system, it sounds like, they're obviously hardworking, driven individuals, kind of have those values instilled from a young early age. How was that being the only sibling for a while, growing up in that, come from an Indian background, Indian culture, and having that presence, and then the American experience and growing up in Barrington, Illinois, you kind of have your own beliefs on what the world looks like. Then you go back home and you have your own, cultural, family, strong values. What was your parenting like, and how were you in between the two voices, in between the two yous? Because I'm a Nigerian, American, obviously, but when I go back home, I have a different set of values. I have respect levels at a T. Like, everything is different. Like, I pose myself a different person in the household. Then I go out and I'm with the fellas. I'm with the boys, trying to fit in that way. What is your relationship with being and remaining authentic, finding yourself in that?
Yeah, I mean, so both my parents, like you said, Indian background. So all my grandparents were born in India, and then my parents were born here. So I've kind of had that cultural balance for, pretty much as long as I've been here. So my parents, of course, are strong in the academics. You got to do really well in school. And that was kind of, on me from an early age. And I mean, it's something I wanted to do too. That's probably just because of the cultural thing.
Wait, not to cut you off. Was it something you wanted to do, or because, again, being from a cultural background, we comply. That's what we do. We comply. But it's not just like, yay, that's what we want to do. We just learn to kind of, I don't know, just thinking out loud, like, if you were in a different person's body, like tennis, obviously you have this love for sports, tennis from an early age. Would it be academics? Yay, this is what we do. Or would it be?
Right. And I don't know. Cause I mean, I have friends who, they come from different cultures and their parents are not strict at all, but some of them are super strict and they're from a completely different culture. So I don't know, but I just know that as long as, my academics were good and everything was going well with that, they were really supportive and, putting me in tennis at a really early age. I started playing at 5. And they were, always driving me to lessons, making sure I was involved with that. I was always in Park District basketball when I was super young. So, the expectation was there to do well academically. And, as long as I was at least striving for that, they had no problem supporting me in everything else that I was doing. And so I think that balance was really good. And it didn't make me have to change who I was if I love sports, and being around people who love sports versus coming home and having just academically focused parents or an academically focused environment. My parents have similar loves to me, and kind of that balance has been really, really key.
It's interesting. And that's beautiful. Whenever you have that balance, you have the support, and you don't have, kind of the pressure that I alluded to earlier. Because again, I'm just thinking, if I'm behind your eyes, in your shoes, oldest sibling, cultural background, grades are important, but tennis, but then I love the game of basketball, but I also love showcasing stories of the game of basketball. It's just like pressure. If it was me, I'm just like, all right, when I go back home, can I chill for a second? Like, obviously I'm doing everything that I love, but it's like, sometimes the things that we're blessed with and the capabilities that we have, the traits that we have for us to do, they become burdens and they become heavy on us to carry. Like you alluded to the balancing act and everything that you're trying to do. I guess in your tough days, and I'm jumping around, usually if you listen to my episodes, it's totally different. But for your story, I'm really curious because I'm really trying to get in your mind, in your head. an impressive young man, literally inspiring kid, 18, graduating this year, does all these different things. One, from working at BHS High School from the media team, doing all that stuff, then going to G League Tracker, literally founding your own thing, and then working for Windy City Bulls and doing the, PR, digital media. Like, I'm like, wait, hold on. He's 18. Like and he's not just starting at 18. He's been doing this. So when you think about your high school years, what's the cost in that? What's the cost in you doing this and this and this and this? Obviously, you have a mindset and a very mature, like, okay, he's looking out for his future, probably not only for himself, probably for his siblings, his family. He wants to be respected. He wants his family to be proud, like all of us do. But what's the cost in that in your high school years?
I mean, especially in high school, it's, the social aspect. You're doing so many things, maybe they're career driven or family driven that you don't do some of the social things. I mean, don't get it wrong. I'm still going out with friends whenever I can, but let's say, 3 weekends in a row, we have back-to-back games, or 2 weekends in a row, we have back-to-back games on the weekends. There goes that full weekend for me, basically. If we have a 7 p.m. game on a Saturday, I'm usually getting there around 3. And then if I'm out the night before, I'm getting up a little later, and then I got to do homework pretty much until I go to work. And then you get up, you do it again the next day. So I think maybe losing out on some of the social aspects instead of, maybe going to a football game and just watching it and hanging out with friends in the stands. I'm on the field, I'm filming, I'm working constantly. So I think you do lose some of that, a little bit of that high school experience doing some of the stuff I've done, but I've really enjoyed it because I've made something out of it. Right. I mean, if you're just doing it to do it, you're going to hate it. But I mean, I love doing it. So, and I found friends who, we love going out and filming the basketball games, filming the football games, and, creating great videos that, are showcased on a Jumbotron right before the game that everybody watches. We kind of feel a sense of pride in that. And I think knowing that and knowing that we love that makes us not feel like we're missing out on some of the other things that go on while we're working and doing other things.
It's interesting what you said there. You said you made something out of it, which you have. You really literally have. But it poses a question in my mind. It's like, do you think, or what's your take on confidence? Because it's like, for me, when we're in our adolescent years, from 8 to 18, we're really, crafting our belief system about, not only who we can be, what we can do, but things around us, how we respond to everything in the world around us. So when I put on a jersey, and I'm obviously taller than other people, and I'm actually kind of good at this sport, the world around me is telling me, okay, you're good at this, do this. Like, I'm accepted. I see that there's, feedback, and I'm like, okay, this is what I should do. So I gain confidence because I'm good at what I do. For you, do you think you would have had that if you didn't have success at this early age? Like, would you come with that confidence? Like, what is driving you to keep going? Is it the praise? Is it the accolades? What is the underlying thing that's driving you to keep going, juggling all these different things?
I mean, for me, I just love it. I mean, I love being busy and, doing things that, that I'm interested in. If I was busy doing something else, working in a restaurant, or working at some tech internship or something, I would hate it. And it wouldn't, it'd be something else that would drive me, maybe getting paid or whatever. But, if I look at the Windy City job, I didn't even think about getting paid. I didn't ask to get paid. That wasn't something that was ever, that I even ever expected, because I started on an internship there for a few weeks through my school, because that was the only way I was allowed to get in the office, was if it was for school credit. And so we found a program at our school that had an internship program. I didn't even know it existed until I looked for it. And so I got it through that way. And then when that was up, I was going to ask, can I stick around and help out throughout the season? Wasn't going to ask to get paid, just be around and help out because it was something I really loved. But right before it ended, they came up and they offered me to stay. They offered to pay me. So that was, it's not something that, the money or, the people watching and saying, oh, you're doing a great job is not something that I think should drive people. It should be, the love of what you do. And especially in the beginning when I was starting in high school with all like the film and journalism stuff, the beginning was really, really bad because I didn't know what to do. That first like month of class, I had no clue what I was doing. I was telling my mom, like, I don't know what to do in this class. And like, why did I sign up for this? Because she was the one who originally got me to sign up. And, people say things when you get on the school TV show for the first time and you're a freshman, and people say things
What do
to
they
you.
say?
Just, they calling you names, just making up stupid jokes behind your back, in the hallways, everybody's, either pointing or whatever, you just, over time, after it happens a few times, you don't really hear it anymore. I mean, the amount of people who do that now is so minimal that it doesn't even matter to me. I mean, I've found people who really support what I do. And I found a group of people that, enjoys doing what I do as well. So, just knowing that there's people out there who support you, and just continuing to do something you love is, I think what drives me.
Man, that's fire. Just having your mom push you and having that, background to push, even when you hear the noise, the outside noise and the hate, and it's always happened. It's almost like validation that, okay, you're doing the right thing because you're gaining there's pushback here. And after you push through the noise and push through that, you're able to see all the traits and see who you can actually be. You get a glimpse of, okay, wait, I'm actually great at this now. Like, and I can keep going. And as you ascend, you're just used to, okay, there's always going to be noise, and just keep pushing through. But I do want to go back there because I think it is important to, touch and speak on that kind of noise, because even in that, growing up, playing basketball, playing the different games, there's a lot of times where I could remember 7th grade, I got cut from my basketball team. My coach, he said I ran like a sissy with like my hand. I'm running like this. I'm so tired. I was overweight, whatever. And, I heard the noise from the outside kids, and they're like, oh, look at this kid. He's sweating. He's all, like, literally I had all the different jokes there is outside the book, like they told me. And I went home, and I internalized that, and I internalized that, and I internalized that. And it's like, I didn't let it affect me outwardly. But when I went home, I'd be lying if I said, no, I've never even thought about this. I'd be lying if I said it didn't really affect who I saw myself to be. And then in turn, the next year I would make the team. But that drove me to do the next thing. For you and your story, did any of the negativity drive you to keep going?
I mean, I'm not somebody who usually listens to like other people. If they're sitting there not giving constructive criticism, then I'm not somebody who usually listens to that. I kind of just brush it off and, just move on with my day. But I mean, yeah, I would say that some of the stuff that, people said, or, you're just the one kid who's the TV kid, right? You're the kid on the TV show. Everybody's watching. So somebody's going to have something bad to say. So I think just kind of ignoring it and not really worrying about what they have to say, just because I had a passion for it, and knowing that I was going to get better. Yes, I made mistakes. Yes, I maybe screwed up a date on the show that I was, the boys baseball team was not playing that day, and I made a mistake, and I said that, and I didn't catch it. And so somebody's going to, say something about that, or people are going to yell at you for not covering their sport one day. Just kind of keep going because you're good at what you do.
I'm going to dig at that. And I'm so sorry to cut you off, but I am going to dig at that again, because I'm listening to you, and it sounds like you're so detailed and locked in that, some people just throw out random things. I don't think that was random. I think you remember exactly what you messed up, and that's in your head. So it's like,
yeah. I mean, there was I'm pretty sure it was either baseball or it was either boys baseball or girls basketball. It might have been both, actually. But I think for girls basketball, I forgot to mention that they had a game the next day, like a big game. Completely forgot, all the girls were like, what the heck? And then, baseball, I think I just missed a date, or I got a date wrong. But just like, if you got like a little misstep like that and somebody points it out, just take it, move on. it's a small mistake in the grand scheme of things. Nobody's going to remember it in a week.
I said that because it's like perfectionist is what I think of. And it's like when you're striving, you're so detail oriented and locked in, not to even labor this point over and over again. It's just like, that's a lot to deal with. And luckily at this stage, it seems like you haven't ran into that kind of headwind, but it's just something to think about, like the having a balance or having kind of, away from everything that you're doing can kind of recharge. Is there any way that when you're in the pressure of all the things that you're doing, that you step away to recharge and bring that vitality, the energy, the passion? I know you have it now, but when you are bogged down from, okay, dang, I messed up. I didn't put the girls' basketball game in there. I didn't put the baseball game. I didn't put everything in. I'm messing up with Windy City. Probably somebody didn't do the right edit. I'm pissed off. Like, that's not the right angle that I wanted. Everything's coming to a head. Like, how do you recharge?
You kind of hit that right in the head with the editing thing. My God, we've had some issues with that. Yeah, I like to listen to music a lot. So I just listen to a lot of music. I'll just sit down, watch some TV, put the headphones in. That's kind of how I recharge, because I don't really get a lot of chances to, just sit down and relax. So even something as simple, just sitting down, watching a TV show for 20 minutes, and I'm good to go. But if it's something that, like if I'm having an issue in, our TV class one day, just kind of putting that to the side and then going to do something for the Bulls is almost like a reset too, because I don't really have to worry about what was happening in that other activity. So even just moving from activity to activity is kind of a recharge for me, because you're not really worrying about what just happened with something else, because you're so locked in with the next thing.
Right. Man, you remind me, honestly, sounds crazy. It's similar to me, bro. It's so similar to me. I had my sister and her friends come over yesterday to this, where I'm at this. Yeah. I had her come and, they asked me, like, do you like anything leisure? And like, you're working this podcast, you're doing this. It's like, honestly, no, I like learning the next thing. So that's why when I'm looking at your story and even fast forward and moving on to the point of you actually interviewing, athletes, professional athletes, like that, the kid that literally was asked to be a ball boy one time, then they picked him up to be on the actual staff. Now you're interviewing the people that you always, watched and played, like to a point of interviewing the Isaiah Thomas and the likes of a PJ Dozier. Kind of walk me through finding your voice behind that mic, finding your voice in those interview process from that kid that had the little project at BHS High School interviewing a PJ Dozier to where you are now, really connected with the stories of these individuals, whether it's the G League tracker highlighting, whether it's during COVID, you had a whole podcast to highlight stories and how guys were moving around the leagues and everything in their lives. Kind of walk me through your process in finding yourself, remaining authentic to who you are.
Yeah. I mean, if you look back at some of those first interviews I did on that media day for my school, I think it was Max Strus, it was PJ Dozier, and it was Milton Doyle. They were all super short, stand-up interviews, kind of really simple, like 3 questions. And looking back at that, I remember watching the Max Strus interview, and that was either the first or second one I did. Him and PJ, I don't remember which order I did it in, but they were all within a few minutes of each other. My voice was shaking in that one. My questions were all, they're all kind of simple, just kind of standalone questions. There wasn't really any build or flow to them, is what I'd say. So I think, and I mean, I knew who the guys were. I've done my research. I watch basketball. I mean, they're on my team, like the team that I'm watching all the time. So of course I know who they are and I know their stories. But now kind of going through that class, that journalism class, and learning kind of and seeing from other people how they do interviews, whether it's with student athletes or if they have the opportunity to interview a professional athlete, I kind of learned to kind of be almost more of like a talk show type thing instead of just interview question, kind of, preface your questions, talk a little bit about what they've done, and then add the question at the end, just so it's not so robotic. And then if there's something that they say that you can piggyback the next question off of, definitely try and do that. And of course, just being a lot more confident on camera, just having that, smiling, just
How though? Like, you can learn, be confident, do it.
Yeah.
But how? Yeah.
Experience. I think if you, all those interviews I did over COVID, I was reaching out to guys, and that was without the help of the team or anything. That was me straight up just reaching out to people, hoping they would do interviews. So the first one I did was with John Odiase. He was with Windy City for 3 or 4 seasons. And, he agreed to do it. And first one went really well. And when I saw that first one go really well, and he was the first guy I reached out to, so nobody had said no to me at that point. So it was a yes. It was a yes. And then the interview went really well.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, great. Like, you get confidence from something going well. I mean, if he had said no, or the interview had gone like complete crap, then, I'm sure I would have felt another way, and I maybe wouldn't have kept going with it. But having that initial success and finding the right person to do that interview with really kind of builds your confidence. And then you do more and you do more. I think, who else did I interview? Interviewed, Kerwin Roach, Vincent Edwards, played a little bit in the NBA. Some veterans, Reggie Hearn, who recently retired. Just, over time, you just get better and better, and you see what you're doing wrong, and then you try and fix it, and you try and improve a little bit each time. So I think that's kind of how I built my voice and developed behind or on camera.
Man, something you just said there is, basically getting your reps in. It's like reps. And it's almost like being competitive with yourself. Like, okay, I know I can be better. I know I can be better. Pushed by the passion you already have for it. But as you see yourself, actually going to the gym, interviewing that person, getting the reps in, despite the anxiety, I was bad last time, I can't, or I don't know what to say, despite feeling that, because we all feel that fear. Despite doing that, you still push through that voice and kind of do it again and do it again and do it again. Now you're seeing yourself, relax when you're behind the mic, being yourself, wearing a IT jersey, interviewing Isaiah Thomas. I'm like, from just literally a binge watch of literally all your socials to where you got to that point. I'm like, well, that's actually really cool. Like, to be at a young age and have this body of work, and you're not an idiot. Obviously, anybody listening, I know, like, you're not an idiot. How you literally like articulate yourself, and you're documenting everything you're doing. It's like LinkedIn everywhere you go. I'm like, bro, this guy is setting himself up for success. Like, my thing is in that, I'm thinking now, I'm like, where is the kid side? Where's the young side? Where's the fun side? Like, I see this force, this driven, like, I know you're going to be huge. Like, literally, you might have to hire me later. Like, true respect. Like, but where's the other side? The kid side, like you said, the social side, being, who you are, the other side of you when you get back home behind closed doors that you really don't show to the world. Because I really had to do some digging to find, he has 2 siblings. He likes traveling. He goes to Seattle. Then he went to London. Like, I had to find those things, like, deep down. How is that side? Like, how can you bring that side out in everything that you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's, it's not everything that everybody sees, right? I mean, you don't post all the social stuff because it's not, the posting all the basketball related stuff is purely, yes, I love it, but if it wasn't helping me get anywhere career wise, I wouldn't be posting all the time. Right. So the social stuff, you're not posting all the time, but, I love going out on the weekends with my friends, going to Topgolf, doing, going bowling, movies. I was in London because my brother the high school band that he's in, he was playing in the New Year's Day parade in London. So all my friends, who are seniors who were in the band, for New Year's Eve, I just went to their hotel and we all just hung out. Even though my parents and my sister were going to a nice dinner, I was like, you know what, I want to go hang out with my friends.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, just finding time to hang out with everybody whenever I can, going to the school dances, going to people's houses on Fridays, or going to a birthday party and then right afterwards, just run into a game. I'm trying to do more and be more, because I know this is especially in my last year, just trying to spend a lot more time with my friends instead of working so much all the time, but still getting everything done that I want to get done. I still love to have fun.
What do your friends say? What do your friends say? Because you kind of smiled there. Yeah. And again, I see so much of myself, like, bro, like, come hang out with us. Like, I get, like, what do your friends say to you?
Yeah, we were trying to, I don't remember exactly what it was. We were trying to do something. And they were like, okay, does this weekend work? And like, everybody was like, no, we've got this one thing. But I was free that weekend. I'm like, we don't have a game. I'm free. And then they were like, okay, what about the next weekend? I'm like, no, I'm working. And everybody was only available on Saturday. And we had a Saturday game. And I'm like, sorry, I can't be there. And then the next weekend, they were like, oh, what about this weekend? We're all free every day this weekend. And I'm like, but I'm not. We've got a Saturday game and we've got a Sunday game during the day. So, they get it. They get that I love it. They get that's where I'm trying to go career-wise. So, I mean, of course they support it. But just trying to find the time to hang out is tough because, everybody's busy with their own things too. But, usually it's me who's backing out of stuff or trying to change the date because, I've got my weekends are usually full with G League games.
Yeah. Nah, bro, I really, part of this, our conversation here, I've been really picking at the opposite side. Like I see the light side, I see the bright side, the brilliant side of you, that everything that makes you go and you're successful already. And I think like, as you look at everything that you've done, if anybody has eyes, it's not the thing that like, honestly, it sounds weird that I'm intrigued to showcase here because I think that you do a great job of showcasing that. And you just speaking already showcased that. I am curious about the other side. When I can't find certain things, when I look at an individual, I'm like, I'm going to ask him about that. I don't care how I usually ask my guests. I'm going to ask him about that. I'm going to ask him about that. I'm going to ask him about that because I'm really searching like what the mental battle, the mindset, the process, because everybody has, a light side and kind of that side. It kind of wants to pull them down in those times. I guess what I want to know is like, because for me, it's similar to where if I get on the interview and we had an interview, I'd be great. Okay, I'm doing this. And then they ask me about that side. And I really can't like, I don't rest. I don't do this. I'm so motivated. So I'm like, I'm really prying at that side. So even me articulating and being vulnerable right now, it's like, I have 30, literally, I always do this. I always show my guests how many different pages I have. This page, this page, this page, and then this page. Literally, I have pages, and then this page. I have pages of you, and like I'm like, I literally have not asked any of that because I'm like, I'm not gonna come on here and not ask the things that I really want to know about this person. Right. It's just like, what is the underlying thing? I don't know, but I do want to take it to a different place because again, your friends, your family, everybody knows who you are. You're kind of motivated, working towards one thing. I did look up your name, and your name, Sahil, means leader.
Yeah.
Whether he follows his own path with confidence to lead his own life or he goes on to drive others forward, Sahil is destined to be a success. I'm like, bro, that is fire. Like having that name is crazy. And now I looked at some other words for it. Riverbank, shore, guide, lead, like that type of thing. It's so crazy because it's like, I see you as one, the head of the household, being the oldest, and then two, literally your Don, Sahil, the leader. Being everything that embodies that now, it's like, how do you, let me think of a question here because it's like, I have another pressure question to ask, but it's like, I don't want to ask him the pressure question because it's like, he obviously doesn't feel no pressure because I'm just thinking if my parents name me a leader and then I have to be a leader of my siblings and then everything I'm doing from BHS high school, leading to tennis team, leading and winning to G League tracker founding to literally Windy City leading. Like I got to lead everywhere. Like I got to be tired of leading. I don't know. Just when you're in those times and you go back home and you just had a tough, somebody messes up an edit, you versus your negative voice, how do you kind of work to quiet that voice? Whether it's somebody that said something, whether it's like, okay, I want this position, but this person has the traits that also against me, I'm competitive. All my work, everything, they see this. That should mean that, right? And you're not able to get that position. You're running into roadblocks every time you're trying to move forward. Because someone like you have a vast mind. You probably have lofty goals that you haven't even put out. Like you literally said you would be a GM, those type of things. So when you have like those practical goals, like when you run into roadblocks, what is that negative voice saying to you in those moments?
I think, it's trying to get you away from, it's trying to push you away from where you want to go and what you want to be. If there's something out there that, let's say somebody, yeah, like you said, like somebody messes up an edit in a big way or something, just kind of not letting it get to you. I know it's so easy to say, but maybe it gets to you in the moment. Like I know it gets to me in the moment, but then just kind of dealing with it and moving on, just letting something simmer and just kind of keep getting at you is not, it just doesn't work. Then you're not going to get anything done that you want to get done. So
how do you deal with it?
I think just over time, I'd say, my first couple of years of high school, and I can think back to one specific instance where I had a disagreement with somebody in my class over a version of a segment that we were going to submit to a national contest. And we were going at it for a while. Our teacher didn't even want to get involved because he was like, ugh, it's not great. It's kind of just between you two, you guys figure it out. And, at that time I was probably just letting it get to me more than I should have. I was kind of pissed off. What was said? The person that, they edited their own version of the segment. I edited my version. I was on camera and they were, saying that, mine was really bad. And this was wrong with it. This is wrong with it. This is wrong with it. And this is why mine's a lot better because it has this. Yours sucks. Yours doesn't have this. You've only been in the class 1 year. I'm trying to give you a big opportunity, even though they were a grade ahead of me, but they were only in the class. They only did the class as long as I did. And just trying to basically make me feel like I was being helped by them and that they were right, even though they weren't really in a position ahead of me. I think that's what really got to me. Now I don't really care because I know what I'm capable of. I think that if somebody, and this actually happened a couple of days ago, where somebody, tries to act like they, like they're either so much better than you or, like that you don't know what you're doing. And then all I say now is like, okay, I just let it go because I know in that situation that I know what I'm doing. I don't really have to prove to them that I know what I'm doing, and that I'm capable of doing something that they don't think I am, just because everybody else around me can see it. So I think that's kind of one of the ways I've probably changed over the last few years.
Do you think from the first incident where you engaged to this incident a couple of days ago where you chose not to engage because you know your body of work and who you are now, because like you said, everybody else knows what you can do. Was that with a peer or was it with somebody kind of over you? Because I think that kind of gets to the point where if somebody's, judging you or, throwing something at you and they're peer level and everybody else gives you the praise, you're like, all right, whatever. They're just a one-off. But when it's from somebody higher up, kind of not, giving you kind of that, you're doing well, that badge, that validation, it can kind of be tough. Like, what was your relationship with that person? Were they on a peer level or I'm just curious?
Yeah. So yeah, it's a in-class sort of thing with our TV class, but and of course, if somebody has done more than me or they've, they're at a certain level above me, of course, I'm going to respect what they say because, they've done more than me. The people I learned from, I wouldn't have learned from them unless I actually respected and understood what they said. So if I just kind of put them off as, they're criticizing me, they don't know what they're doing, that wouldn't make sense because they've had so much more experience than me. So, but if it's somebody on your level or below you who tries to make you feel like less than you are or tries to go at you for no reason, then I don't really see any point in kind of hearing that out and letting that kind of keep going. I think just kind of nip it in the bud and trying to just settle it and move on is the best way to go.
Settle it and move on. When you're so focused, you know what you can carry to get you to that next point, and you know what you need to leave behind. You know what sacrifice is. Okay, I can't go out with the boys this weekend. I'm so focused on what I need to do. But that focus is obviously like pointing towards something. And if I was to ask you what that something is, kind of what is that dream scenario for you? Like the next step, what you want to do, whether it's not only with sports, but in life, like being a leader of men, loving the game, loving sports, playing tennis, like all things considered, if you could do anything, everything with your traits that you're given, the God-given abilities that you've worked and, stewarded over the years, what does your dream scenario look like?
I think getting to a place where I'm able to, let's look at it from a professional aspect. Maybe it's, in sports, maybe it's not being a GM, or maybe not being the president of this, but having something where I can kind of have that kind of implement my vision, is kind of where I want to be. Maybe it's like the head of a certain department in a sports team, or maybe it's not the top of the top, but somewhere where I know I can thrive and help others and kind of implement my creativity, is where I want to be. I don't want to be somebody who's going to have to listen to somebody else for the rest of my life and work according to, somebody else's kind of restrictions and rules all the time. And I think that's something that I've found, it's interesting because like Windy City, yeah, I have a boss, who actually just got hired by the Chicago Bulls. So I new boss now. But both of them just, yeah, they have their rules and that's fine. But they're not like set in stone. We're able to work collaboratively because, they've seen the stuff I do, and I'm able to kind of be on a similar level to them, even though they're technically above me. I think having that collaboration aspect has been really cool. And I would love to either have that in the future or a team that I can lead on my own.
Were you ever in a point where you couldn't express yourself? Because everything that you just said is basically like, I want to lead, whether, it's here or there, I want to lead and, have my vision, my self-expression on my team, have like my mark on an organization, my impact. Saying that, like everybody, like, I think that's, when people get frustrated in their job, it's like, I'm getting tired of trying to impress. I want to express myself in the confines of what I do, like become all that I am. That's kind of why I'm prying and pricking about like other parts of you, like expressing yourself. Were you ever in a point where you felt like you couldn't express yourself?
I wouldn't say that I couldn't express myself. Maybe not. I mean, if I look at it like my first season with Windy City, like I was a lot more, kind of go by the book, follow the rules, not offer up my opinions as much. Yes, I did sometimes, but I was still a little bit more like, just work with this one person, kind of not, work with everybody else in the office, not talk to the players that much, kind of just stay in my lane, kind of get that first season going. But I mean, if I look at it this year now, I've become so much more comfortable in, having relationships with the players in terms of, talking to them every day, kind of getting to know them a little bit outside of basketball, talking to our GM or our director of basketball ops or our ticket sales director, just kind of branching out and being less maybe like timid, I would say. But I wouldn't say there's been a situation where I haven't fully expressed myself.
How did you get to that place? And not to keep asking you questions, because I was just in a place in Greensboro this year. And I think literally what you just said is so key. There's so many people, okay, ticket sales, the staff that way, team that way, coaches this way. And it's like, there's no interaction, there's no life. And it's like, wait, we're all charged and I think we're all coworkers. We're trying to, G League is not just for the players. It's like, we're all trying to grow. And if not to shit on Greensboro, if we're all in a shitty town of Greensboro, there's nothing much to do. It's like, we should be interacting with each other. Like, how is there no relations? So I always was frustrated because I felt like I couldn't express that within everybody. Like I would always, okay, let me go reach out to them. Let me go reach out to them. For your story, how did you get over that timidity? Because I would go to the staff and be like, talk to us. We don't feel like how did you get over that? What were the steps that you did? Like,
Yeah. So the first year I was there, I started in the summer, and then I moved into the first season. So I was really comfortable with the team president, Brad Seymour. He's somebody I've known since I started going to games, so like 6 years now. And then my manager at the time, his name was Sean. Was really comfortable with him too, right? So we all worked together super well, but not I think being almost afraid to say the wrong thing to somebody else or do the wrong thing, or be seen as, the kid, was kind of what kind of kept me away from, being involved with the players or the rest of the staff as much. There's a couple of people that you're close to, but the people that you're not, like, I wasn't interacting with them or trying to interact with them that much. I think this year, everybody saw, in the first season, we had a lot of returning people, front office staff, players, which was really nice. And then basketball operations staff. So a lot of them saw what I did that first year, and they knew me well enough to where I was able to start expanding and, talking to them more. Or we actually had our director of basketball ops followed my page for a while before he got the job. And so that's how we built up a relationship. It was easy to start talking to him and just having that confidence after the first season. I've been through it before once. So getting to that first game, it was kind of just like, it was kind of go mode. It was, it came naturally. And then I was able to focus on other things.
Man, I think, bro, it's like whenever I'm listening to you speak, I'm like, bro, this guy gets more impressive as I hear him talking. It's like, I'm ADD, so there's a lot that's coming in and out and in and out. I'm like, bro, I should have asked him that. I do have that. I should have asked him that. I do have that. And it's just like, bro, relax. And it's like that. What you just said there, bro, is being seen as the kid and, kind of, if I'm you behind your eyes before I get that job, honestly, if I'm me, I'm not thinking of that. It's like, if I'm me, Norense, not you, I would just go in there. I got the job. Yay. Let me go and make moves. But if I'm you, if I was you, you literally created G League tracker. So you go in there with credibility. Yes, I'm a young kid, but like, okay, look at my work. So you can't see me as a kid because, I see his background. Like, he really actually knows what he's talking about. Like, he highlights the stories. Like, that builds you credibility. So when you walk with these G League conversations, like, I'm not just looking like, oh, there's some kid, let me sign his autograph. Like, no, this is an actual interview. Like, you come with a presence. Like, that's so smart. I'm thinking out loud, like, bro, what? Like, this kid is not even 19.
But that's kind of something, you said something that was similar to something Isaiah Thomas said. Their director of basketball ops, they set up the interview with him. He comes out of the locker room, points him over to me. And we start walking, from the locker room out to the court where I have a setup. And then, he thinks it's just kind of like a little bit of a BS interview to start. And then we get out there and he's like, oh shoot, like, you got a full interview setup and everything. I think he was a little bit surprised. No, you could seeing that I'm a kid, you didn't think that it was going to be like a proper thing. So, just trying to stay professional and stay credible is super important.
You got some shit to you too. Like, I can see the athlete, like, even that, when you said that, it charged you, and like him even saying that, was like, man, what do you think this was going to be? Like, I put my hard earned, like, I put my work into this. Like, before you were here, like, I got the jersey, I've been grinding, like, I got my team, like, the right angle. I got this ready. Like, what did you think? I don't know. There's that fighter spirit.
That was a funny one because I had my school out that day. I had a bunch of the kids in my TV class. We got them like passes to come out and shoot the game because it was like an education day game. It was one of those 11 a.m. starts. Those are ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they were all sitting there. It was like 10 of them just watching. And then we had like 2 people shooting photos of it. And then a couple other team staff that were watching. So it was almost like a live interview, which was kind of cool. Yeah, it's just, I think he was a little bit surprised, but he was good. He gave me a good interview. So I'm happy with that.
What has been your most proudest moments of your, even before 19, professional career? Not quote, because you are a professional, but in my mind, I'm like, bro, what the heck? What has been your proudest moment so far that you could say, okay, like I'm really proud of this moment? Yeah, you're not complacent, because before I even cut this question off, somebody like you, if I break you down right now, you're like, well, I got to keep going. I got to keep going. I got to keep going. What can you say that you're proud about that you've done to this point?
I mean, I would say probably being able to interview guys who I've seen play when I was younger. And then I always thought like, oh my God, like that's that guy. Like now I'm like kind of sitting here just, you came up, shake my hand, we sit down, we do an interview and we're good. Like, it's not like it's
like who?
I think Jason Terry was probably the big one. He was really down to earth, really chill. When I was asking him questions, he gave, serious, thoughtful answers. And I remember, I think it was one of my first few packs of basketball cards that I got when I was in like elementary school. He was one of the guys on one of the cards. So just seeing guys like that who I saw, play in the NBA, or even Isaiah Thomas, when the Celtics were always beating the Bulls, when he was with them, just kind of being on like a similar level to them almost. They're still up here, they're the great professional athlete, Jason Terry, 19 years in the NBA champion, Isaiah Thomas, multi-time All-Star, but you're not being treated in a different way. It's like you guys are almost, I don't know how to describe it, but you're just kind of like, it's not like there's a lot of fanfare around them. They're treating you like almost like an equal. I'd say that's what I'm really proud of, being able to get to that moment where I'm no longer, running up and being like, oh my God, it's that person, but just kind of being able to, be professional with those guys and kind of be on a similar footing.
Being on a similar footing all comes from the passion that you had from early age to where you are now. I think you did say something in a forum. You said that you would implore people to put energy into pursuing their passions or you'll regret it. Kind of just a closing kind of question for you. What would you say, or if there's somebody listening right now to our conversation and listening to somebody so driven to the different things that he has to do, and I can kind of reside, and I definitely resonate with that because I am as well. But if somebody's listening and isn't like that, like doesn't have interest, doesn't know what they're interested in, doesn't know what they're passionate about, kind of, if you don't know what you're interested in, someone so driven like yourself, what would you say to that person to find an interest? Like, how do you go about identifying a passion?
Try things. I mean, that was me. I didn't know TV, media. I had no clue that was going to be what I was interested in. But, we heard about, it's a great program at the high school. It's kind of unique. Something I haven't seen before. Let me give it a shot. My mom was really adamant about that. And I ended up loving it. But, who knows? I might have ended up not liking it. Or some of the other classes I didn't take, if I took them as a freshman, would I have liked them? Would I have not liked them? I'm not sure. So just try things. If you don't like it, try something else. You're going to find something that you enjoy. I think just putting yourself out there and giving something a shot that you're not sure about is the best way to find a passion and an interest.
Is the best way to find a passion. Obviously, if you can see, my camera switched because the battery's exhausted. Who cares? That's television. No, it's not. Anyways, bro, I think that literally is what I would say. Literally trying things gives you the passion to do the thing. Like, okay, I don't like this. Let me try this and try this. And then you see yourself becoming great at something. You're like, okay, I develop pride in this because I'm good. Oh, what the heck? And then people, like, I get validation from this too. Like, you're a person, you're like, okay, this is cool. Like, I see myself where I didn't think I was. A lot of people get so like depressed because, I feel like I don't have the traits. And then they look at somebody else who's doing the thing that they didn't know they could do until they tried the thing. So they're like, it's about staying in your own lane and then trying the things in front of you. And that's why it's so amazing, honestly, and inspiring to see somebody this age that's, doing all that you are. I wasn't. I know a lot of people weren't. Like, so I would honestly, nobody needs a pat on their back, but keep going in everything that you're doing, because I think the beauty of, podcasts and, evergreen content, you can look back and see, okay, I was there, because before this, I looked at where you were before then. I'm like, okay, like he's become this. And then when you go on to do the things, you become this and this. they can look back and see your story and see how you were, like the demeanor and how focused you are, and see the beauty in that. So again, thank you for just sharing your story. Another and last closing, kind of question I ask all my guests: overcoming your mind bully, whether it's you versus you in the negative times where somebody messes up an edit or you don't feel like this charged person that you are. How do you work the practical steps to overcome that negative voice?
And I think I touched on this a little bit earlier, but just kind of knowing yourself first is huge. If you don't understand like how you're going to react to something, then you're not going to be able to overcome it. So if you're just out here always, there's a million things going on, you're stressed about this, something else is bugging you. If you don't know like how you I don't know how to phrase it necessarily, but like know yourself, know how you handle things. And if you can like make sure you like don't do what normally you would do, like if okay, I'm gonna have a bad reaction to this, just trying to stay conscious and avoid that specific thing is huge. And I think not worrying too much about what other people say, especially if you're doing something you love, I think that's kind of a huge thing as well. Also, don't beat yourself up. Like if something goes wrong, if you accidentally mess up an edit, or if you miss a massive shot or something happens like that, it's one moment in time. Nobody's going to remember it in 15 seconds unless you're in the NBA finals or something. But just in general, like life moves on. There's new things every day. There's new opportunities, new things to do. So don't get so hung up on one thing that it prevents you from kind of growing and moving on in the future.
Beautiful. Self-awareness is kind of what I got from that. Self-awareness, once you're aware of, kind of how you react to things, react to, okay, why do I feel this way towards that? Okay. Then you can do the next step to kind of figure out, different tactics to overcome and move forward. And you literally, the next part of what you said literally just helped me on this podcast. I'm so candid. I'm so, quote, honest, vulnerable, whatever. Like, yeah, for me, I'm like, bro, you didn't showcase this man's story in the way that you should have. Like you should have gone here, and he tennis, the Laverne Cup, where he was the ball boy, and then he did all this, and like everything that you've done in your story. It's like finding a pathway to do it. It's like my negative voice, my mind believes like, no, you should have did it this way. And it's like me like, nah, bro, like I'm a believer of God. Let God move and let God speak through me, and whatever you're interested about. It's your podcast. You didn't make a podcast to be a shell of yourself anyway. I'm speaking out loud again, but no, what you just said there helps me even overcome that negative voice. So again, thank you for being on the podcast.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks so much for having me on. It was a great conversation, and, just love talking about a little bit of everything. It was really cool.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode with this great guest. If you liked anything that you heard, any content out of this very episode, do me a favor. The link's below. I always wanted to do that as well. Subscribe, comment, tell me what you thought about the episode, and share what you would like to hear on this platform in the further episodes. More to come as we climb. Beat the hell out of your negative voice. For more, subscribe, rate, and review. Thank you so much. It means more than you could know for you to watch this episode. Peace and love. Boom.